Kobayashi Maru. Was that, did I say it right? Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi. Kobayashi.
Kobayashi Maru. Kobayashi.
This is amazing.
Fuck.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 210105.6. Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise and thank you for joining us on our continuing voyages through the final frontier. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she thinks that a Tuvix in the hand is worth a Neelix and Tuvok in the morgue. It's Ambassador Deneé.
How do you come up with this shit?
That's all I do in between shows is think about the cold open for you. That's it. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
How are you doing, Ambassador? Have you recovered from an episode that we've talked about? It's come up more than once over the last week. Like, we'll be having a car ride and you'll be like, she just fucking killed him. She ended his life.
Yes, that was definitely an epic start to the series of this new season of Captain's Pod, because I have not stopped thinking about it.
How is it tasting now that you're 7 days removed?
Dirty.
Still really dirty.
Yeah, it tastes pretty dirty. I was trying to think of like a food item that somebody has merged together and then taken apart and served you. And that's like the deconstructed cheesecake or like something really unique that I've eaten that feels like a merger of two things and then a separation of those two things. And everything that I can, like, even just reaching for it in my mind, it just doesn't taste good.
I think it would be different if it was like a really great episode with a questionable ending. But if it had like a really kind of acceptable mundane episode where like Tuvix said, yeah, I'm okay with this, I don't think we talk about it.
No.
It's just the fact that he objects so much.
That's the worst part, is the writers did a fantastic job of making you think about this terrible thing for like genuinely right now I can imagine what Tuvix looks like, and it's just the most haunting little, like, I don't know, it's too much. That was too much.
Well, if you think that was too much, this week we are staying in Voyager for our What the Fuck series for Star Trek. And this one, it's Threshold this week. This would be the second most infamous episode of Voyager, in my humble opinion. I don't know if it's going to stay with you the same way as Tuvix has, because there's no real moral debate at the end of it. But
Thanks for the spoiler.
There are things that happen. And there's not really much more of an introduction I want to do to it. So give us a prediction for what you think Threshold is going to be about.
I'm nervous about this because now I know what Janeway is capable of. And so the term threshold with Janeway makes me nervous.
Because she has no threshold. Like, she has no lines in the sand.
I think the idea might be like, what line are you pressing up against? Like, how far are you willing to go? And I think Janeway, based on the Tuvix episode, based on some of the previous episodes I've seen, although they're not as fresh in my imagination, but man, based on this show and how you and the live chat will talk about Janeway and how she's a sociopathic murderer, I am nervous. I'm like, reasons. What is she going to wipe out in this episode? So I assume we're looking at genocide today.
Pure straight up genocide. Yeah, that's going to be a comfortable discussion.
Oh, I guess you said there's no moral dilemma at the end of this one. So
no, yep.
Okay. I have to take that back.
This is a clear genocide. There's no like moral ambiguity around it. This one's okay.
I don't know. Is it going to be one where they walk through multiple doorways and then they have changes in time or changes in appearance, like crossing a threshold and new things happening, maybe figuring out some sort of puzzle? That'd be fun. Like a maze. That'd be cool. I can never tell by your expression if I've got it right, which makes me sad. I wish that maybe I should. I should pay more.
You should know me better.
I should pay more attention. Maybe there's little tells that I haven't picked up on.
Changes in time and appearance. Okay, with that, let's head over to the holodeck to watch Threshold, and we'll see you in 10 Forward for a full debrief. This time, we're safe to beam. Mainly because there was a lot of editing last week and I don't want to have to do it again. To the beam out. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched. Most important question first, Ambassador. What would you like from the replicator?
I definitely don't want Tom Paris coffee.
No.
There actually, I don't even know if it was coffee. Was it coffee?
It was coffee. Yeah. Neelix
okay.
named it after Tom. Yeah.
Okay. It looked like it was coming out of like a 1980s coffee pot.
I love it. I love how the aesthetic of TNG and Voyager would like try to be futuristic, but it looks very 90s still.
So, yeah.
And I kind of still want all of
funny.
it.
Yeah, I kind of want to try the Tuvix coffee, but not
Tuvix coffee.
Oh shit. I would like to try the Neelix coffee, just the basic regular old Neelix coffee. Although B'Elanna went for some biscuits.
I have no idea what she went for, a plate of cookies.
And I kind of want to try those too. So I'm going to say biscuits and coffee.
I'm really hoping they were like shortbreads from Scotland. There's only one answer to this, and I'm going to get away from the mic as I say it. Pepperoni! That's the only answer of what you'd like from the replicator this week.
Oh my God.
Ambassador, please give us a in-depth synopsis in detail, categorically categorizing what happened in this episode of Voyager.
In this episode, we want to go to Warp 10 and we throw a big old whiny bitchy fit about it. And Paris is like, no, I want to go, even though his brain's like, probably not. Shouldn't do that. But he wants to be something and he wants to mean something. Yep. He wants to prove to his daddy and his whatever complex he has going on that he is worth more than he thinks he's worth. And so by golly, he goes and he warps it. He comes back and his body decides to transform because now that it has been everywhere all at the same time, it knows that it needs to be better. And in this episode, what that means is evolving into a lizard catfish.
Logical. Ambassador, I hesitate whether to ask you your overall thoughts and feelings. Would you like me to or not?
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you, because you were in the room with me the whole time, so you had you were right there. So how do you think I feel about this episode?
You didn't even chuckle at the two hilarious lines from the Doctor. So I don't think you had a good time with this episode. I don't think you liked it. I don't think even the salamanders at the end will save it for you. I think all of it is definitely in the what the fuck bucket.
Yes.
And I think you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch and why did I watch it? Is my instinct.
You're close.
Because you didn't say a single word throughout the entire episode.
No, you're close. Definitely. You're definitely close. I overall thoughts and feelings on this one was I might not be a Voyager fan.
This might do it. This might be it. I don't blame you.
I actually have a new character that I genuinely don't enjoy.
Is it Tom?
Yep. Yeah. And this episode is about him, so he was very dominant in this episode. It
also wasn't about him.
It was, though. This was a Tom Paris episode.
I mean, it is, but he's not. It's so confusing to me because he's not Tom for most of it.
He is. He's 100% Tom. And
he's actually 1,000% Tom. Yeah, exactly. He's the most Tom he will ever be. Yeah, before we get into details, I do not like this episode.
Interesting.
And the reason we watched it this week is because it's a piece of Star Trek history in its notoriety and infamousness. So that's what makes it interesting to me. The episode itself, once you've seen it once, it's not super rewatchable for me because all of the shock is in what's happening to Tom? Why is he changing? And then you just get the massive head scratcher at the end of salamanders and babies. So there's so much about the ending of that's just wild. And the new technology, the new science, the new Trek lore that this episode brings up. This has some of the deepest warp core lore in all of Star Trek. And it's insane. So it's one of those episodes you have to cover. And what the fuck is the best time to cover it, to be completely honest?
Yeah, I think we have a lot to discuss, even though I personally didn't have like my favorite Star Trek watching experience.
No, there's plenty to talk about.
But there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
My first question is, do you think that the actors playing Janeway and Paris were the ones in the salamander suits at the end? Like, did they actually let them get in the suits and warble around on the fake planet at the end? Because if they did, I immediately like this more.
I think we have to talk to each other about scale. Did you get the impression the salamanders were 6 foot long?
Yeah.
Did you seriously?
Yeah, they were huge.
No, I thought maybe like 3 foot. I didn't think they were human-sized salamanders.
I thought they were human-sized salamanders.
Oh, that's fair. Of all of the questions you would have about this episode, I didn't think this would be the one we would disagree on. That's wild. No. I think they're 3 foot.
I think they were
because
huge.
The salamanders turn up again in Lower Decks, and because they're at the farm. There's 2 Warp 10 salamanders at the farm, and they're on kind of biobeds, but they're not taking up the whole thing. So yeah, 4 foot maximum, I would say. I don't think they're Tom and Janeway sized.
That's so stupid.
If they were, why the fuck wouldn't you dress up Kate Mulgrew and Robert Duncan McNeil as salamanders? And drop on the deck and flop like a fish?
Oh my God. Where do we start? Where do you want to start with this one? Because I have questions and I have things.
I kind of just want to dive into your questions because the bottom line is they're trying to get home. They want to break the Warp 10 barrier. That seems to be the newest theory on how to do that. They break the Warp 10 barrier. Shit goes wrong with genomes. They have to undo what they did. Like that's the summary. There's a vague story of self-discovery with Tom that's paper thin. But I think just hit me with your questions, then we'll knock off anything we missed at the end.
My first question is, what the fuck is Tom? Why is Tom? So Tom says something about being a traitor?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then he obviously has I have to prove myself complex majorly.
Yes.
And that's, I think one of the big purposes of this episode in particular is trying to give this character motivation that pushes him beyond having to prove himself, like giving him an emotional on-screen moment of getting into some of his backstory. I mean, God, we learn important things like when he lost his virginity. So
Lieutenant Overshare.
In his room, by the way, he could lock the door and be away from all of the negativity that he experienced and these expectations from his Starfleet Academy father or his Starfleet father, whoever. Anyway, we learn a lot about Tom, but he says something about being a traitor at one point in time. So what's that? And she said something about redeeming himself too. So I'm missing some context.
So we're in season 2. This is still early days for everybody. But Tom has had quite a bit of development out of the cast. So episode 1 of Voyager, right at the beginning, Janeway is assembling her crew. And there's just one pilot that she absolutely has to have above anybody else. And he just so happens to be in prison. He's currently serving out a sentence in prison. I don't remember exactly what he did wrong to get in prison. I think it was working with the Maquis, but at some point he did work with the Maquis, which are the freedom-fighting quasi-terrorist group that's fighting against the Cardassians.
Oh.
So Tom didn't do very well in Starfleet or at the Academy and decided to join the Maquis to find a cause, to find something.
And the Maquis are fighting who?
The Cardassians.
The Cardassians.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the same guy that we kind of like in Deep Space Nine, the one that like has all the deep connection.
Garrick. Yeah, Garrick. He's the Cardassian.
He's a Cardassian, yes. Right? Okay.
Yes.
I'm seeing kind of like the face makeup and the prosthetics and
exactly. Okay. That's the crossover intertwining.
So they're fighting the Cardassians, and then who was the other alien on screen though that the spy sent some information to?
Okay,
what species is that?
He's a Kazon.
Kazon.
He is. Okay. They are native to the Delta Quadrant, and that's another thing entirely that we'll get to. But yeah, Tom has problematic history. His dad is an admiral in Starfleet. So obviously the expectations are super high. The daddy issues are super high. He wants to please his father, but has failed and has been like a Starfleet dropout. But he's an excellent pilot. He's really good. And Janeway wants to give him a chance. So there's also this kind of like undertone on the ship where the Maquis don't accept Tom because I think if I remember rightly, he goes turncoat and he trades information with Starfleet to reduce his sentence. So he gets caught, gives information about the Maquis to reduce his sentence.
Oh, so that's why he's a traitor?
So that's why he's a traitor to the Maquis. Okay, so
he's not a traitor to Starfleet.
He is a traitor to Starfleet
because he went to
left and joined the Maquis in the first place.
Right, but if he was so shit that they didn't want him, why? Oh, okay.
He's shit everywhere.
Okay.
So he's betrayed the Maquis and isn't welcome with the Maquis members of the crew. He has fucked up Starfleet, so isn't welcome with the Starfleet members of the crew. So he's kind of this renegade, just ne'er-do-well, ladies' man of the ship. Captain Jack, but with less rum.
Okay.
Terrible analogy. But that's a potted history of Tom. And obviously being stranded in the Delta Quadrant, being stuck on the crew, he's kind of forced to redeem himself and find a crew and find his place. So yeah, the most important bit of this episode is Tom realizing maybe I need to work on my self-talk before I work on trying to prove to everybody that I'm worthy. I need to prove that to myself first.
And that was kind of, I think, the point of this particular episode was to sort of give him a pivotal sort of in-depth moment where he gets to do something that can't be denied by Starfleet as epic. In fact, maybe historically by any group of people that are, traveling on the stars, they're always going to know this particular name because he was the pilot. So yeah, I can see how this would be kind of an interesting moment. He has this high and then he realizes I have some shit to work on for myself, which is really cool. If he wasn't so annoying, I think I would have liked it a lot. And again, I feel very similar to the episode that I watched where I didn't end up liking a beloved character. So again, I'm sorry if Tom is a loved character.
I don't know how beloved he is, but again...
Yeah, this is a hard one to kick off with.
Throughout season 1 and 2 of Voyager is rough. There's lots of people, lots of characters finding their place, finding their relationships. Tom massively improves as the season goes on. He's much more likable later on. But at the beginning, he's meant to be a bit of a cad, a bit of a womanizer, and he evolves as a character as the season goes on. But the other problem with this episode is that he's not himself for most of it. So he's a bit wild.
No, I see what you mean, because he's kind of a little rude, like as far as like he's aggressive and, falling apart. Does the crew treat him differently after this? Is this just like a swept under the rug moment? Like no one ever talks about the salamander children ever again?
No mentions about the salamanders, the salamander children, breaking the warp 10 barrier. Nobody attempts.
No one?
No one attempts to go home like this again, even though they have a cure. So all you have to do, break the warp 10 barrier, go home.
Pop a pill.
Radiation, everybody.
Right.
They've got their way home. And it's, never mentioned again. This is a huge one episode memory. We will forget this ever happened.
I mean, it wasn't like it was very strange because it was radiation therapy, but highly experimental. Like they locked him into a tube.
They plugged him into the warp core.
And plugged him into does the doctor lose his medical license for that?
You think he has a medical license.
Like, we're just going to hook you up to this warp core and that was okay. Yeah. All of it seems a little wishy-washy, I guess.
To be fair, B'Elanna hooked him up to the warp core. The doctor just suggested it. B'Elanna provided the
never mentioned again. Wow.
Never mentioned again. It's absolutely wild. And it's sometimes overall, there is growth because I see growth in Tom. I see it in Harry. I see it in 7 of 9 when she joins. There is overall growth, but none of it's very rarely specifically referred back to. The only time I can remember them properly referring to previous episodes is in reference to Harry's dating life. So as the series goes on, Harry will fall in love with a hologram.
I think I would too.
Oh, I would 100%. It'd be one that I designed.
Right?
Yeah,
would you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to be surprised?
No.
I would want to be surprised.
I have some very specific thoughts.
Oh!
He fell in love with a hologram.
No, let's go back to that.
Nope. In the outtakes. He fell in love with a hologram. He fell in love with the wrong twin. One of the twins liked him, the other didn't. He fell in love with the wrong alien. He fell in love with a Borg. So he loves deeply. Tom will occasionally give us this recap and then he'll add one to it. So he'll add the most recent thing. It's like, you were always doing this, Harry. First it was the hologram, then the twin. That's all the character development memory that we have in Voyager.
But do they ever say, first you had this one and you had the salamander and you, like, it's never...
Harry never replies with, but you fucked the salamander, so your kids are still out there on a planet somewhere, sir. He never says that. Never ever says that. Yeah. Okay,
I mean, I think I understand because we understand the format of Star Trek isn't to do seasonal kind of things. They do the... But what a way. Okay, that was my first question. My second question was, let me go back.
Is it about the Warp 10 stuff? Because I'm going to talk to you about it, even if you don't ask.
Yeah. I have it. I remembered it.
Do it. No, do that first. Forget? I will not. Okay. Will I forget the Warp 10 barrier? Ambassador. Okay. Get off my bridge.
So is this the most technobabble episode of Star Trek of all time?
No.
Are you confident in that?
No, next week might have more technobabble in it.
Shit.
But no. There is no. This doesn't even come close. This is par for the course. When you get into late TNG, all of Deep Space Nine, all of Voyager, no, not even close. There's so much more. This, they get through it pretty quickly. Like there's some at the beginning where they're describing what's wrong with the shuttle and why it isn't working. There's some in the middle where they're talking about what's happening to Tom's genes, and there's stuff at the end with the cure. But this is like minimal. You want technobabble? Talk about when like Geordi is trying to sour the milk with the alien that's suckling the Enterprise and trying to get them out of booby traps. Like there's so much more.
I don't know.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
There was a lot.
And
there was a lot.
This is okay. So is the format of Voyager, for me, one of the things that took this down a little bit was that one scene would say what they were going to do, and then the next scene would talk about doing that thing, and then the next scene would talk, like it would just...
You summed up a lot of Star Trek there.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever felt it quite like this before.
Yeah, I've noticed it more this and last week, where there's this very disconnectedness between each scene, where it's present problem, have briefing to describe problem, solve problem, enact problem solving, problem happens again, describe new problem, rinse and repeat until you get to the end of the episode.
What it felt like.
Yes.
It was. Is that Voyager, or is that maybe just like the problem of an episode like this where it is trying to excuse its behavior?
There's elements that makes sense. There's elements of that throughout all of Star Trek, depending on the episode. But when you have a mystery box episode, it's very Star Trek always kind of falls back into that of the problem solving, execution, why didn't that work, until we get to the final solution at the end of the episode. So once you spot that, it happens in a lot of TNG as well.
Ooh. Okay, so I have to tell you something that I did.
Oh, okay.
I decided to ask the internet about like the most known technobabble episodes of Star Trek ever.
Do it.
Because having been doing this for the last few years, I do pay attention when technobabble is present, and this one was dominant.
It's so,
like it dominated. So usually when I'm writing my notes, right, there's like there's about I don't know, a minute or two of like deep nerdy babble going on, and I love it. This for me was so dominant, I had to stop typing because I was like, I don't think like this isn't going to matter for my notes. And so it was like what it felt like is we're making new technology here. We have a new ship. We're in a new area. We're using new things to power a new core, and we have to travel at a new warp speed. And so we need to talk about in canon all of the reasons that this makes sense. Yes. And then on top of this episode is all of the medical drama as well. So then they have to go, wow, we're going to have to do all of this stuff to prevent Tom from dying by showing him evolving so fast, like, and doing all these really interesting medical things, because it's got to be a huge medical thing to fix this huge problem of this person existing everywhere at once and returning as if normal, so it really relied heavily on over explaining itself. So I did ask the internet to give me some information, and then I went through, there's a couple of different like places that I was kind of pulling from, but Threshold was number one.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Lists. Yes.
So what was the question specifically?
Well, my question was like,
does Threshold have the most technobabble?
No, it was like, what are the most technobabble episodes of Star Trek in history? I wonder what
parameter it's using, because volume, I don't get it, but depth, I do get it, because this invents some Star Trek lore.
Right.
This doesn't just make it work in canon. This invents new canon for warp travel.
It's doing a lot.
Yeah. So it's interesting that because you would be quite prone to pick this up because you're watching a lot of Star Trek over the last 4 years, and
and I'm typing as I go.
And you're typing a lot of it as you go. So I'm willing to believe you. It's just my gut instinct is that we get more technobabble elsewhere, but I think the thing is that early briefing where they're in the mess hall and they're talking about the shuttle experiment and they're describing like the composition of the nacelles, and then you have to exposit all of this to Neelix, who comes to the table as the audience and is like, okay, explain this to me like I'm 5. And they attempt to explain it to him like he's 5. And even that is filled with technobabble. But that is really the part that's trying to make this Warp 10 thing okay with the audience, because it's never really been, as far as I can remember up until this point, it wasn't even specified that Warp 10 was impossible. Voyager's the one that really spells it out as, this is impossible. You cannot, the scale that we've created for warp travel, you cannot go beyond this. Warp 10 is the maximum. And then they give it a reason, which is you would be, in theory, at this velocity, everywhere all at once at the same time. That's the first time we're ever hearing that. Like, that's brand new information. I remember that blowing my mind when I first heard this episode. I was like, oh, because as a kid, I'm like just expecting that as written, that, oh, that's science in Star Trek. That makes sense. This has been firmly established. And I'd love to know who they went to confirm that. And just like, we're going to invent a reason for why Warp 10 is impossible. Is this okay? Is this a reason that makes sense? Can we go with this and play with it? So I feel like that's a lot of what you're picking up.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was a lot. In each scene, it was a lot. So, do you want to hear some of the other ones in these lists? I'm just going to name them
absolutely.
Off. One list mentioned Relics, TNG season 6, episode 4.
There's a fair amount. We've seen that one. That's the one where Scotty comes back to the Enterprise. Here
are the terms: molecular cohesion failure, pattern degradation, transporter buffer harmonics. Those were some of the words that I clipped.
I mean, they're usual. Just the usual stuff.
Another one is Rascals, Parallels, the Nth Degree.
Parallels has a lot of technobabble. The Nth Degree has a lot of techno, and these are all TNG episodes.
Yeah.
Rascals, Nth Degree, and Parallels.
Tuvix was on one of them also. And there was more. There's like Timescape, Genesis. Is that the one we watched?
Timescape we've watched, and Genesis.
Yeah.
Loads. They're the episodes that I think of with technobabble.
The Naked Now.
Scientific Method has a lot as well.
Those are the ones that I quickly wrote down earlier.
I think 99% of that was TNG. It really was. Yeah.
Anyway, it was distracting for me, but those are my basic questions. I had said those two. I wanted to know more about Tom, and I wanted to know a little bit more about, like, was this over the top for usual Voyager standards? I mean, it
obviously is for you, but it feels I feel like there's just in this era of Star Trek, they are unapologetically technobabble. And I remember watching an interview on the TNG Blu-ray with Ronald D. Moore, and he was like, there was a point where the main writers, the head writers, stopped writing the technobabble. So they would write the scene, write the dialogue, and then when it came to Geordi enters the bridge, comes up with solution, it would be tech, send it to somebody else who would then insert the technobabble that would make sense based on the lore book.
That makes sense
because
to me.
It would stop them from just coming up with something on the top of their head.
Yeah, you have to have like
somebody has like the Star Trek dictionary and then inserts the relevant thing into the script.
100%. Like
tech.
That's how I try to think about like if I'm making notes, it's like insert be funny here or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Something needs to go here.
This is important. Please be funny later. Yeah.
I can't think of what it is right now, but try to be funny about this later as I'm writing.
So when you technobabble aside, when they were sat around the table talking about what the plan was and with breaking the Warp 10 barrier to get home, what were your thoughts as you were watching that? Were you like, did I know this? Am I supposed to know this? Is this new lore? Like, did that strike you as, are they just making shit up? Are they writing new rules?
No, not really. I find myself like some words will become more and more familiar, but I still feel like the writers in Star Trek realm do a pretty good job of trying to make it make sense.
Yeah.
There was even like what was the storage thing? It was like a giga. Oh, I wish I had written it down.
It was over a trillion gigaquads?
Quads,
gigaquads,
yes.
Yeah, a trillion gigaquads of data.
So they'll sort of build upon their own like vocabulary. So it wasn't too confusing, even like the dilithium crystal. I can kind of understand what they're trying to go for. So that it wasn't that I was confused or didn't believe it was possible. It was more that it dominated the conversations in each kind of, they were all just talking at each other and explaining what they were doing at like the highest level. And I'm watching it going, when is the fun going to kick in? And when the fun kicked in, it was watching Tom turn into a salamander. And I was so already kind of like, I'm not checked out, but just not as interested in, what was happening on screen, because I wanted him to die.
That's fair. I mean, absolutely fair. There are episodes I wouldn't have missed him this early on either. Kiss Me Kess is probably the most in-character thing that he does.
That made me, and then she fucking does it.
Oh, I know.
And you know what I wrote in my notes? It was like, don't touch that. Yeah. He's sweaty. You now have that on. You have now ingested his goo DNA into your person. Like, don't lick your. Why?
He's radioactive. You've just pumped him with the maximum amount of rads that you can pump him full of.
I guess the answer. No, that was before the rads.
No, he dies after the rads. They're going through, she's at the terminal increasing the rads passionately, and then he dies.
I thought the rads was at the warp core.
That's the warp core. That's the isotopes.
Oh, of course.
That's the warp core. Come on, Deneé. Come on. With this exchange interestingly links back to, I was having fun when they talk about the techno battle.
That's amazing.
So when they're talking about the nacelle being ripped off the ship, and they're like, what if the ship is being ripped away from the nacelle? I'm like, oh, you got it, guys. That's the shit. But there is an uncomfortableness in this episode for me about the warp 10-ness of it all. And
should we shift into that?
I mean, I think I've talked about it enough. I think I did get into it enough, but it is uncomfortable. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me because it's just, looking back, it feels like it's being made up on the spot because for you, it felt like it was made up on the spot. We don't revisit this. We don't come back to this idea that warp 10 is the limit of warp drive capability. Like, they instead introduce like slipstream warp, trans warp conduits, and they just go like kind of warp adjacent. We never explore this again in any way.
Let me ask you this. So when you watched this the first time, I don't know that you remember, but when you watched this the first time, did it feel like an exciting episode because it was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have this new tech in the show? And then because they haven't introduced it again or come back around to it again or explored it again, that it brings this episode down because now all these years later, we still haven't seen that played with.
Suddenly it becomes just a toy to play with in this episode rather than an expansion of the lore. And with Star Trek, I always want, not always, but I largely want expansion of the lore that is consistent. What I do remember, and this isn't necessarily linked to the first time I watched the episode, but my earliest memory of watching this episode is I'd done a full watch of TNG, and then I did a full watch of Deep Space Nine, and then I did a full watch of Voyager. And I remember in the finale of TNG, they go to Warp 13. And in an earlier episode of TNG, they're like, we're going to Warp 11, we're going to Warp 12. So when this episode comes along and says, Warp 10 is a hard fucking no, like you are not passing Warp 10, here's what happens if you do. I disconnected from this episode so quick because so much of the previous Trek has established warp in the future.
Why do it then?
You go to Warp 13. You do it to have this episode and to be
that's frustrating.
To do something fun and different. I think the internal logic is that the Warp 12, Warp 13, Warp 14 stuff was in a potential future in TNG where in that future, let's just say the warp spectrum has been redefined. Right. So what we call Warp 14 isn't actually beyond Warp 10. It's just a redefinition of what we know warp is. It's like
the elevators that don't ever go to floor 13. So it's like Warp 9 and then you just go to Warp 11. So Warp 10 is something that you never do that particular one. Maybe they fixed the problem, but they won't call it 10 because of what happened.
Because like
everyone knows, and like there's a whole confidential thing, and it's just called the salamander incident.
The salamander incident. You have interestingly hit on one of my notes, which is the analogy here that I do quite like is we know that it's impossible, as far as we know, to travel at the speed of light. Like that would be impossible. And the way Star Trek gets past that is it travels faster than light and it bends space. So in Star Trek, you're never traveling, I think, at the speed of light. You're always traveling faster. So that could be exactly the same thing. Like they got past warp 10, they just don't go exactly at warp 10.
No.
Because salamanders
that's whenever you're everywhere all at once.
Yeah, there be salamanders.
And then you have to have your treatment. And it's just like unspoken...
just have the fucking treatment!
It's just an unspoken thing.
It is wild. You have a way to get home and you don't use it. They don't even say this won't apply to a ship the size of Voyager, or we don't know how this is going to affect the children on board, or the Vulcans on board. They just kiss this technology goodbye and never use it to get home. That's the biggest confusion of this episode is how it rewrites some Star Trek lore and then doesn't give a shit about anything in the future either. It's just, hey, salamanders.
If there's something that I really enjoyed about this episode, it is the creature feature of watching someone mutate.
It's my favorite part of the episode as well. The makeup job
really
is great.
Well done.
Yeah, really great.
After he removes his tongue, which unfortunately does not keep him from speaking, he has this sort of the next evolutional picture or the visual of him is when he's being like plugged into the fucking warp core.
And he's full
and he's really
gecko.
He's really transmutating.
Yeah.
And the mouth, the creature feature kind of mouth that they've given to him is very sphincter-esque.
Yes.
And it's pretty, I'll just, I guess this is the cold open. It's a really impressive sphincter.
Sphincter? Did you have to say?
Sphincter.
Did you have to say it like Goldmember?
Mm-hmm. Sphincter.
Sphincter? He was killed in an unfortunate warping accident.
If I can't have fun with what's being spoken about, you want to have something visual, and this one's just got so many really uncomfortable moments. Not only is he peeling, he's also gets gum disease, and he's got
his gums could be fine. It's just the tongue that fell off because salamanders don't need tongues.
It's all black and stuff.
Maybe that's just how it's supposed to look when you're a salamander.
He loses his hair. He has like the really interesting veins just on the side of his head that are sort of getting bigger and grosser. The props department had a lot, not the props, but the special effects department had a lot of fun in this episode.
And I love it. I think Voyager, for some reason, it felt like Voyager had a bigger budget for the makeup department than TNG or anyone else. And I wonder if it's because you're going to the Delta Quadrant. I would imagine you're going to have less money for this specific thing. Maybe I don't know, whatever, Starfleet sets. But we're going to increase the money on your alien props because you're going to need to see Delta Quadrant aliens. You're going to need to see aliens that are really, really alien. So they didn't half-ass Tom's transformation. They did great.
I also think that my assumption, what we've talked about TNG recently, that their budget for this stuff was so minimal because they were creating something brand new. And so we talked about, unfortunate makeup choices. They didn't have a prosthetics department for TOS. I think I said TNG. I meant TOS.
Oh yeah, TOS, totally different.
But I think at this point, when Voyager is created, we know it's important for a sci-fi show to have more of that. So I can see why they would increase the budget. I think it would be an important and a really important part of any sci-fi shows that they're showing us something unique.
Let's talk about the salamanders. So what was your impression? It's so rare that I get to watch this with somebody who has never that understands enough about Star Trek to know how weird this is, but has also not seen the salamander episode as well, which is what this is called. So
there's a sex candle episode. There's a salamander episode.
This is the salamander episode. Okay. Deneé. In fact, this goes beyond that. This is just called Threshold and everyone immediately knows. Immediately. Probably because they say Threshold 35 times. But how did you feel watching this unveil and develop when they reveal the salamanders?
So I think I'm offended.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to think that if I, as a human, am going to evolve, I'm not understanding the lizard-esque amphibial connection.
This is a great point. This is a great point to talk about.
My plebeian intellect is oh, no. I am not evolving into that.
That's not the path for me. That's not where I'm going. It is weird because that's generally not how evolution, as far as we understand it, works.
Well, that's
either.
it. But that's what the doctor says. And it was very much presented as this is what is happening, not this is my theory several times. And so because it's all kind of fast paced coming at you, there's the doctor attempting to figure it out. And then there's the aha, I know what's going on. And in that explanation, my understanding was that there is this quickening of DNA and the body is losing organs and items it does not need anymore and reabsorbing it back into itself.
Like an appendix or, I don't know.
When he came back to life and he said, here's what I thought was going to happen in this episode. Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought that he'd come back, and because he was in the future and the past, which was mentioned, that there was an element of that he had to go back out into space, kind of like that Picard episode where he had to shoot himself.
Oh, Times Squared.
Yeah, where it's like there was a fullness, there was a loop that must be closed, kind of a vibe. But that didn't even happen. But so when he starts to evolve and he kind of needs different kinds of oxygen, and then it said that he had an extra organ, I literally was like, he's pregnant.
Oh, and gives birth to a new Tom.
I thought
that would have been crazy. They have to raise baby Tom to get their lieutenant back. That would be insane.
I like where you're taking it. I mean, I was thinking it was going to be a species that lives in warp 10. Kind of like the species that lives in the buffer zone.
Oh, you know that exists.
And that like in that everywhere all at once space, it waits for the right kind of person or thing to come along and then parasites onto it. And then it births like itself into a timeline. That's what I thought was going to happen.
That wouldn't be the weirdest thing to happen in Star Trek. That's way more interesting than what happened.
This is why we should write our own Star Trek stories. That's why
we should do it.
But
that's amazing.
That didn't happen. And I think once I have an idea like that and then I watch what it's actually doing, it's difficult because whatever
they do will be disappointing.
I mean, maybe I always leave it open. Like, I'm not saying that my ideas are the best by any means, but like, I was like, oh, it's not that. What is it? Oh, it's what is this? And so there's a good portion in the middle of this where it's a mystery as to what's happening to him. But at the moment when it's an evolutionary thing and we're trying to split DNA, he breaks loose and he's kind of like this aggressive thing. I thought he was a frog. I was like, okay, this feels a bit like the other episode we've watched in TNG where, is that Genesis?
Genesis, that's Genesis.
They're kind of
which we've watched, but we haven't covered on the show, to be clear.
Okay. So when we watched that one and I got to see, amphibian Deanna Troi in the bathtub and things like that, I was like, oh, this is interesting. There's this weird, we're de-evolving into the base of ourselves.
Yes.
So to see this not be a de-evolution, but rather a fast track future evolution? Yeah. Or is it saying that is this show saying that their children become humans along that planet's evolutionary line?
No. That's not what I picked up on it.
I don't think it's saying that. I think that's insinuating that it devolved because the past and the future all exist at the same time and that we came from lizards. What I think it's trying to say.
I think we did come from lizards at some point. I think we did come, like, there's some kind of water dwelling,
right? But that's
sneaky thing.
I think that's what it's trying to say. Is like this is back to that, and so Tom Paris and Captain Janeway's children will be future humans on that planet.
No, I think it evolves. I think it's literally saying that is the next step of evolution for humans, or one possible route. Is that somehow we turn into lizards, which seems less evolved than what we are.
But it's all happening at the same time, man.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not what the doctor says.
That is not what the doctor says.
Not what the doctor says.
This is what Deneé is trying to take and make sense of it. Because I don't know.
The interesting thing is that that's not even properly how evolution works either. There are so many. In fact, majority is environmental factors. Like, evolution is the thing that survived is the one that lives. Like, and then that becomes favored because that's the gene that gets passed on. The shitty genes that have like one finger because we can't use one finger to fight each other off, whatever, that's a terrible example. That doesn't survive because it dies. But the thing with 4 fingers and a thumb that managed to make tools, that did survive, therefore survived to make babies, to continue the line. this can't do that.
His
It's just like saying, what's it evolving based on?
His DNA is mutating at a geometric rate due to subatomic disruptions in his biotemporal field.
Yeah.
Does that make it not evolution and something different?
No, I think this is saying that
I don't know.
It's basically, you can put a human in an evolution microwave and just accelerate them regardless of environmental factors. Like, we will just naturally evolve with no other environmental factors in play or any other selective pressures in play. And that's a hard leap to get to anything, because evolution doesn't choose. Evolution is a result of the shit that's happening.
Yeah.
Is my understanding of
it's
evolution.
like, is he actually evolving or mutating from like stress and maybe some bad writing?
That too, yeah.
Maybe.
Biotemporal field is the thing, that's the catch-all, because you've got temporal in there, which means that it's time. So it's just like, time did shit to his genes.
Yeah. But it's also interesting because it wasn't insinuating that he didn't have a brain, because he purposefully kidnaps Janeway to be his mate.
Yes, exactly. Don't know why he didn't kidnap Kes. I guess Janeway was the nearest person nearby. I guess that was a matter of convenience, that's all.
Oh boy. I don't know. It didn't really work for me. I was very confused by it. And by the time we got to the whole reveal of their salamanders, I was like, that's disappointing. And then more on top of that there's children involved.
Yeah.
I was like, it needed that. You know, it needed that extra bit of weird to make it super, super weird. And then the show just sort of has this odd chitty chat in med bay in the medical wing, and then we're just back to a regular old day at the job.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even talk about therapy
they just
or
have
anything.
Chit-chat. They just have just like, well, I always wanted to have children, but I never thought they'd be with you,
That
Lieutenant.
fucking blew my mind.
It's so casual.
Like, they lived an entire life.
3 days.
Was it 3? I thought it was weeks.
3 days, I think.
They got busy.
Yeah, they didn't mess around. They just stated quick.
They did.
But it's also time travel, so maybe they landed on the planet 2 years ago, because it's warp 10, so they can be anywhere at any point. It's honestly bizarre luck that they were only 3 days away from Voyager.
My notes in this episode are so crazy. Oh yeah, 3 days to get to the shuttle. Oh my God. So in 3 days, they did this situation and they had full-on babies.
But
wow.
That's always a thing. The thing that kind of breaks my brain a bit is that's always a thing. There are 3 evolved, quote unquote, human salamander babies parented by Tom and Janeway.
While they were still partially human.
While there was still human DNA in there. And fucking Chakotay in his log, just like, commander's log, we just, no, not even the phasering. I mean, the phasering is like, did you have to phaser them? Were they going to resist?
I would have actually liked to see him attack. That would have
loved to. What did you think was going to happen, Chakotay? They were going to lunge at your neck? And the little sad
nibble their
slump,
ankles.
The little sad slump that they do. Mm-hmm. Did you have to shoot them? But beyond that, Chakotay is like, acting captain's log. We've rescued Tom and Janeway. I've decided it's best to just leave the kids behind on the planet.
Oh my God.
I've decided what's best is to leave them on the planet in their new environment.
Mm-hmm.
Beam them up. What? How? How do you leave them behind?
How do you not, this is sick, but how do you not even try to see if maybe there's any human DNA in them, and then why wouldn't
you be able to undo it in them as well?
I guess there's just a chance that it's like, well, good luck surviving out there. You don't have parents to take care of you. And hey, you know what? We did learn in a little bit of research before we started recording today that salamanders don't usually stick around with their babies for long anyway, so they'll be fine.
I guess they'll just be, but I mean, even if you know they're going to be fine, like, can you just, I always love this with Voyager in particular, there should be an entire series that is Star Trek Voyager, the debrief. And this is going through log by log in Starfleet headquarters, just like, okay, so we're on stardate 49305.1, whatever. I probably got pretty close there.
Let's see. I think I wrote it down. 49373.4.
It's pretty close.
I think.
But, okay, we've got this, and then they just read the log, and they're like, so talk me through why we don't have the salamanders. Why did you leave them behind? Like, there is so much science to be learned. It feels unethical to leave them behind. It's just like, I want that debrief series. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking?
It's just crazy. It didn't kind of work for me, except for that, listen, my notes on this are like, what the fuck is this shit? And that is this season of Star Trek. So the fact that this exists for us to watch is kind of a delight. Like, way to swing for the fences and do something kooky way. Did I enjoy it? Not a lot. Was it engaging me? Barely at all. Did I find some things to like? Yeah, but that's kind of in my nature. Will I want to watch this one again? Probably not, because everything interesting that happened is something that I don't really want to think about anymore. But like, hauntingly, I've been thinking about Tuvix a lot.
Yeah.
Like, this one's probably going to like leave, because honestly, it kind of feels a little bit 90s icky in a way.
Yeah.
You've got like Tom asking to kiss Kes, and then like this, I don't know, his man-child disruptive, like screaming about his life and everything. Because I don't understand the character, maybe that was part of it. But even not understanding the character, I just found him to be a whiny little bitch, and I wanted him to shut up. And whenever I thought that he might be killed on screen, I was like, oh, maybe he's like an extra, and this is going to be like, he's killed.
Tom is the main
and
cast.
Then something else comes along, you know, or he gives birth to himself in some weird thing. But it was not something that, like, I don't know. I think it's perfect for this season of the podcast. And when you have friends that you're like, you want to see something really crazy, this is one you're going to pull out.
This is one of them.
Yeah.
It's one that you need to have in your back pocket. It's one, the Threshold episode, the Salamander episode. It's one of those. It's interesting because it tries to do some connective moments with Tom. It really does try to build on him, because he has his when I was a boy moment.
Yes, he does.
Where he talks about his dad called him special. And he's trying to prove that regardless of this 2% chance of the enzyme giving me a brain aneurysm when I cross the warp 10 barrier, I have to do this. So there is an attempt to dig into Tom, but that loses me as well, because I then don't know if this is the Tom that I'm digging into when he starts to transform and gets really aggressive. And it's hard to do like deep character work when I don't know if I'm looking at the same character.
Yeah, I can see that.
But also, there's a couple of other issues I have with that moment. And it's, what if Kim has a when I was a boy moment as well? What if he's just been told, you're going to do the test pilot? He's like, yes,
I thought about that too.
Since I was a boy, my dad said I was special. And I wanted to, fuck you, Tom got there first.
Do you feel
there's no reason for Tom to do this mission? Do
you feel like there's, well, okay, my notes in that moment where we already know that Janeway is okay with killing people, so she's going to be okay with killing him.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it's so totally she sends him off, like, knowing that he could be going to his death. She seems to be fine with it. So that's another like, whoa, Janeway. Because you're right. And I did wonder if Kim had gone, would the same thing have happened? Or was it that 2% off brain thing that caused all this to happen?
I wonder.
We'll never know, because they don't do it again.
We never do it again, but they do it with Janeway and it also happens. So oh,
that's true.
I was assuming that, like, this is the get out of jail free card.
Well, we know her brain's off anyway, though.
But we know her brain is already off. It probably prefers to be a salamander. But yeah, the fact that it works exactly the same with Janeway is kind of wild. But even if it was down to that 2% chance, that makes it even more wild that we don't try this technology again. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, overall, I think it's an interesting watch, but I don't really have much more I feel like that I have that I need to like go into about this episode.
I've got a couple of things I want to get off my chest.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which is, how is the holodeck helping them at all? This really bugs me. The simulation. And it's come up in the live chat as well. They're going, I guess you can input all of the parameters, but since going at warp 10 is impossible, how does the holodeck know what success looks like? Like, because it's like warp 10 achieved. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, it achieves success? Like, I don't know how the holodeck could know, could permutate, could hypothesize enough about this to be reliable enough for a manned test flight. Hey, guess what? Send some biological matter in the shuttle.
Right.
Let that pilot it up to warp 10, do the transwarp stuff. You don't jump straight to human testing.
The scene where they return to the captain and they're presenting the positive results, right? Mm-hmm. And Captain Janeway says there's no way to put the genie back in the bottle. And
right.
My confusion there was
until next week.
But it was proven in a simulation. It wasn't proven outside of a simulation. Mm-hmm. So to trust it that much, I guess because they're so confident in the science.
The thing is, the holodeck is only as good as the person programming it. So
that was my
it's
question.
Like junk data in, junk data out. So you have to be confident that you know what you're telling the holodeck.
I feel like the Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi Maru, nice.
Did I did it?
You did it.
Was
I can't wait to see where this is going. Yeah.
Was that? Did I say it right? Kobayashi Maru. Kobayashi.
Yeah, Kobayashi.
Kobayashi Maru.
This is amazing.
Fuck. That one, I feel like, is believable. That's a simulated test that has been run by so many people at this point and probably tweaked by scientists so many times that when you go into that like simulation,
well, that's just a matter of being
that.
Outnumbered. Like that's a matter of you can't get out of this. Like you are outnumbered. You will die.
I'm talking about the simulation itself. Like we can believe the output of that simulation being a testable, viable. This person went and through and did these things, and this is a method. Because if there was something that was off in the simulation, like there's so many people doing it that they would have a lot of data. This is just some bored ass people in the Delta Quadrant. They're like, you know what? Let's just put it in a simulation.
To be fair, I don't think they're bored.
I think they're so bored.
I think they're desperate to get home.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, we see an episode where they get bored.
They became salamanders and fucked. They are so bored.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
They have nothing else.
Fair.
She happily talked about wanting to have kids, and this will do. Like they are so bored.
You know how this episode should have ended? It should have been end program. I guess we're not going to try this.
No, it should have ended with them being like, oh, in the future, the female salamanders eat the males and she kills Tom by eating him. And
totally
that's how
fair.
this episode should have ended.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was very confused about the simulation part too. So I'm glad that you mentioned it because it did feel like it was kind of a skipped over moment where we're going out into the shuttle with people way too fast.
Yeah, it's a means to an end. Like of course you'd run this through a simulation first. I just feel like you would use the holodeck for these kinds of things. But I feel like there are lots of steps between the simulation and then manned test flight. And they're all so happy to do it. And that does link to like another issue with the episode is I know they're not going to really break warp 10 and get home. So this is just the Voyager anomaly of I'm always waiting for this to go wrong. I'm waiting for their joy and excitement kills me. Because I want them to get home.
Right.
And I know that we're in season 2.
It's not going to happen.
Episode 15. And it's not happening this episode. So their joy, it always feels uncomfortable once you go through it time and time and time again. And even by this point, they've had multiple things where it's like, we could get home. This is a wormhole. They have technology.
Right.
And so I remember getting tired by this point of, I know you're not getting home at this point, guys. So can we stop with the false hope?
It's interesting because the idea that like you go into every episode knowing that any attempt will fail is such a thing that you've written yourself into a corner about.
100%. Yeah.
So I can see how this episode would sort of be a little bit exciting because it seems that it's all worked well. And until Tom collapses, you're kind of not sure that things actually went wrong because he's kind of doing okay.
And even then you just assume it might be the brain aneurysm thing.
Or the coffee.
It may not be something, or literally Neelix's coffee. That leads me on to... go for it. No, do it. Yeah.
So it's not the coffee that gave him the allergy. It was the water itself.
The water in the coffee. Correct.
So many questions about how he would be a salamander then because they are very moist. But anyway.
Basically, everything is water-based.
If he was allergic to the water, wouldn't he then be allergic to his human blood as well? Is that the idea?
Yeah, well,
he just sort of like, he just shuts down.
His entire body was shutting down. And I think I don't think that sticks with him. I think he evolves
past
that. Exactly. Yeah.
Loses a couple organs, gains a couple organs, whatever.
Because
yada.
Because thank goodness when he comes back to life, he can suddenly breathe oxygen again.
He can.
Or else he would have been resurrected and then died under the blanket and nobody would have known. They would have come back the next morning and been like, oh, fuck, Tom. Oh, he died again. Shit. He was back with us for about 3 minutes and then he suffocated. Wow. Shit.
So what was the thing you're thinking of?
That did lead me to a couple of funny moments from the Doctor. Which, like, there is this era of the Doctor isn't the best because he hasn't got his emotions. He doesn't have his he doesn't have a heart to him yet. So I much prefer.
So he's just an ass.
He's just an asshole. I prefer him in later seasons. He's Dr. House at the minute.
I don't believe that. He has to have a sense of humor because
but he does. He's not an android. So he is his bedside manner is modeled after his creator, Dr. Zimmerman. So his personality.
Dr. Zimmerman is just a super dry asshole.
Zimmerman is Dr. House. He really is.
Okay.
So a lot of that personality leaked into him. And at this
purposefully.
point... purposefully. He hasn't evolved. He hasn't grown his own personality based on experience and heuristic algorithms and whatnot. But there is this deadpan humor that I miss from season 1 and season 2, where like he genuinely like, okay, what did he ingest anything in some of Neelix's coffee? And he stops dead. The man is dying in front of him and he stops dead and is like, it's a wonder he survived at all.
Yes.
I love that. And also when Tom comes back from the Warp 10 trip and he's asleep and just that bend down and wake up, Lieutenant, kills me. He commits to that so much. The bend down to the ear and the scream. There's a deadpan humor that I really miss from the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because he gets a little bit goofy.
But you're right, I
as the
didn't
seasons
even
go on.
laugh at that.
You didn't? And I was like, oh, this one.
But that's okay.
She ain't connecting here.
That's okay.
It's totally fine. I do just want to revisit your predictions. What I did like was you saying multiple doorways with changes in time and appearance.
I did say that.
You did predict the episode. You did pretty good. Crossing a threshold.
Yes, I did that.
So you did okay with your predictions this week.
I think there's an element of that counting, but I kind of saw it like going through something and then more. But that's almost exactly what the show would do: is it'd go to commercial, you come back, and there would be more peeling this time.
Yeah. Well, Tom did go through the warp barrier and Janeway. With that, let's have some pips.
Oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry to go quiet. I'm really thinking here. I think this is a 1 for me. I can't really, even the prosthetics can't pull it up into a 2. I'm going to stand really firmly on what I was experiencing this show. It crosses the balance line of technobabble and medbabble for me. This is, for me, an example of an episode of Star Trek not talking to the everybody audience. And
that's a good point, actually. Like, if you're not connected to Trek,
the
very notion of Warp 10 being important is lost to you.
Yeah, it's like physics word salad or something. It's just, and I can follow it because there's context clues, like based on what they're talking about. We're in the medical bay, so this is going to be, medical conversations. But I don't know. There wasn't really a lot for me in this one, except for the prosthetics. I don't really feel like it made me understand a character any better. It kind of feels like a lot of the characters are sort of, I don't know, the crew didn't feel quite like a gelled group.
Yeah.
Not
until season 3 or 4.
When we watched the first season of TNG together, I remember like that same feeling kind of creeping in, but it was weird. I was like, whoa, this isn't usually how it feels, right?
Yeah.
Because they're still kind of getting, used to each other and exploring their characters a little bit. But this one seemed especially jarring. And I think you touched on it, that it kind of felt like we're going to this scene now. We're going to this scene now. We're going to this scene now. But all the prosthetics and the costuming and things like that is, I think, maybe could get it more into the 1.5 range for me.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. For me, it's 1.5. I give it a little bit more. I do think the prosthetic work is great. The reason it gets that extra half from me, and this might upset some people, but it is because of what it's done for Star Trek in terms of being terrible. So
interesting. Okay.
This is such a conversation piece. Everyone, much like Tuvix, everyone can talk about and bond about the Salamander episode. So for me, and this is so fucked up, the extra half a pip is what this did for the Star Trek community by being terrible. We need thresholds. We need these episodes that are so fucking weird and just baffling. Like, you have salamander children out there. Like, that's worth the price of admission for me, even though I hate it. But every convention I've been to, there will be something mentioned about Threshold. There will be, eventually, when you get a group of Star Trek fans together, they will talk Sub-Rosa, they'll talk Tuvix, they'll say there are 4 lights, and they'll talk about the salamanders. And that's my rationale, because it's Flyboy worded it very well for me. If not for my anger at abandoning the Offspring, this would be a completely forgettable episode, half a pip. And it would be forgettable, were it not for the salamanders at the end, it would be a pretty forgettable episode. Episode. All right, Ambassador, let's head over to, where do you want to go to do some emails?
Oh.
Bearing in mind, These are some corrections.
Well, I really want to try Neelix biscuits, so I think we better go to the Neelix Biscuits Bay. Neelix Biscuits Bay.
We're gonna go.
But that's not 10 forward.
It's in the mess hall. We're gonna go get some word salad in the mess hall. Two to be out. Okay, hailing frequencies open, everyone. It's time for us to read your messages from Discord, Twitch, Bluesky, and, well,
Bluesky?
email.
The fuck is a Bluesky?
Yeah. We do have a Bluesky account. It's, I'm at witsind.blueskythings, and then search for Captain's Pod and you'll find us there as well. Thank you, Quest2046, who I've been having little chats with a few weeks back. I think this was... no, this was actually the episode that you were here for. It was Day of the Dove with David. I mentioned that George Takei had asked Gene Roddenberry, if Sulu could be gay and if there was if he could push for that. And I said that Gene said it wasn't he couldn't do that yet. He was doing too much. He was worried about getting taken off the air, and it wasn't time. The correction is, George Takei wasn't speaking about Sulu specifically. He just wanted to know if it was possible to introduce a gay character onto the show at some point, even just for like one episode. So he wasn't pushing for Sulu to be gay, just for a character. And that was an important difference that I wanted to highlight. And I actually found an interview he did with PBS where those are the words that actually came out of Takei's mouth.
Oh.
After specifically the kiss with Uhura, Kirk's kiss with Uhura is like, we've pushed that boundary. Can we push this boundary? And Roddenberry was like, that almost got the show cancelled. There are bits of the country that will not broadcast that. If I push this any farther, we may lose Star Trek entirely. So yeah, that was just a subtle difference. Wasn't necessarily Sulu being gay, but just introducing a gay character.
Mine is going to come from the Founding Tieflingers Discord chat.
Let's go.
When I was doing my live reaction to this episode on Discord, I was typing out my notes, and Tom kind of turns and starts messing with his mouth at one point out, and I'm typing, I think he's going to pull out his tongue, and then he does it. So for those that were watching live, there was like this.
How did they react to that?
Yeah, well, Wandering says, I can't believe she fucking called that. Of all the crazy shit in this episode she could have called. And then there was another, well, she does have a way with these things. So I just want to thank you guys for believing my cuckoo bananasness, because
that is amazing.
That was fun.
That is so fun. I'm so impressed. I love that they're there for your predictions in the moment, because I'm never there for them. Sorry.
You are always...
I'm the only one that's there for them. I'm the only one that actually gets to see them. So
yeah, so that was really, really fun.
We have a live question from Link on the Twitches. Has the Doctor from Voyager and Data ever met? And to the best of my knowledge, they have not. The Doctor has appeared on the USS Enterprise in one of the movies, but he's never in the same scene as Brent Spiner. I would love that. I would love to see a little exchange between them. That would be great. Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, no, that hasn't happened. Okay, that takes us on to next week's episode, Ambassador.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I want to know about what next week's episode is, but I also think that we should look at some of the top episodes for the week after that as well. That way, podcast listeners have enough time to try to influence, if you haven't already gone onto Discord or sent in an email. That way they can hear some of them that could be, because we're deciding them like kind of week to week.
So some of the potential options. Because we've had lots sent in that you could vote through. Like,
I want to know, I think we're kind of accumulating the ones that are the most requested.
Yeah.
So maybe, your influence would push it over the edge.
Yeah.
So I want to know what next week is. That one's already set, but the week after isn't yet, so you can still influence it.
So how many should I list?
The top 3, maybe.
The top 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'll tell you what next week's episode is, and then I'm going to give you the top 3 most requested that I have in front of me. And you can send us a message on Discord.
Yeah, which one you want to tip into the top.
Yeah, which one you want to tip to the top. And we will be, spoiler, we'll be doing all 3 of these.
It's just what order?
Just what order we're going to be doing them in.
But what if somebody's like puts one into the mix and it's just like, oh my God, how could we not do that one? And it rockets to the top.
Then maybe one of these won't make it.
You never know.
Maybe. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, this is an 8-episode run, so we've still got 6 to go. But next week's episode, we're changing course slightly. I predict we're going from what the fuck more into what the fun. So we're going to be moving from Voyager into Star Trek TNG Rascals, Season 6, Episode 7. That might sound familiar because you mentioned it earlier in this episode as...
Oh, another Technobabble one?
Technobabble.
Oh, God.
This is one of my go-to favorite personal episodes of Star Trek, requested by many people as what the fun. And this, it fits the definition for me perfectly. Hey, everybody, do the thing that we asked you to do earlier, which was to send us messages about the next episodes that you could possibly see in the series. The top 3 most requested... Right now, so far, 2 of them are from TOS. We have Spock's Brain.
I love Spock.
You ain't gonna love Spock's Brain.
What? No. Does it have like little legs that pop out and run around and shit?
Would be less
is it like
weird.
in Baldur's Gate? No, because in Baldur's Gate there's a little brain that runs around with you.
Is it mine?
No.
You? Is it called you?
Maybe it's called
them.
you.
That's
them.
They.
No.
It's
we.
they.
Us.
My pronouns are confused.
That was genuine.
That was great. That was really good. Okay, Spock's Brain. Shore Leave. Another TOS episode. And then we're going to have the TNG episode. Now, this is going to be interesting because this will be a first. Genesis is way up there on people's lists.
Oh, and we've seen that one, and usually I haven't before.
This is going to be very interesting because we've seen that together, but we haven't covered it on the show. So just send them in via email, Discord. Of those 3, which one you want to see the most? Because the other 2 might not be safe if the voting changes. So Spock's Brain, Shore Leave, and Genesis.
You can email Ian at iananddeneé.com, or you can go on to our Patreon or our Discord. Links are in the description.
And they're working because people are joining the Discord, so it works.
And thank you for doing that. Ian, you do such a great job of welcoming everyone and saying hello. I'm so sporadic on when I jump onto Discord, but I do have to say too, the little livelihood happening there is so fun. I mentioned doing daily games, and then all of a sudden there's more daily games to do.
Every single time.
So it's really, really fun.
What I would like to say is thank you to the community for welcoming everybody, because there is a barrage of Star Trek gifts whenever someone joins the server. And there's one that just says, "Welcome to our table." And I love that one. I love that one so much. And there's one from Discovery that's just, "Welcome home." I love it so much. I love you people. Okay, until next week. Here lies Captain Ian, beloved radioactive mutant.
And from me, it's excuse me, what makes you think it was your idea? Sometimes the female initiates mating. Apology accepted. From me.
I thought they were going to fuck there and then. Live long and salamander.
Oh boy. Thanks for listening to this episode of Captain's Pod. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can send us an email to Ian at iananddeneé.com. And if you want to support the show and get the episodes early, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/IanandDeneé. If you want to catch the show live, we have those links down in the description for YouTube and Twitch. And then I think I'm supposed to close this hailing frequency, so bloop bloop, we're out. Do salamanders give a shit about their kids?
I mean, these 2 clearly don't.
Oh, this one made it think a lot.
Oh, still wearing.
It's complicated. Again, says AI mode for Google's new AI mode that I'm trying out today. Some salamanders species do show significant parental care, while many species lay their eggs and abandon them. Others guard their eggs to protect them from predators, keeping them moist and prevent fungal infections. The level and type of parental care varies significantly among the species. Let's see.
Keeping them moist? What, do they just sit there and lick them?
Yeah, of course.
Or
roll them along the beach into the water. Just like a little barrel.
Come on.
This way.
Little bit wet, and then you come back. What a mess. Salamanders are wild.
Japanese giant salamanders have males known as the den master.
Let's go.
And that person, well, I mean, it could be a person in the future.
In this case.
Will guard the egg for months, and they fan the eggs with their tails to increase oxygen flow and even eat unfertilized or infected eggs to prevent disease from spreading.
Okay, question. Wait. How do they know that's working?
What do you mean, how do they know?
When they how do they know to fan the eggs?
They remember when they were in the egg. And they're like, it was fucking
bullshit.
hot in
There's
there.
no way.
Somebody get me a goddamn fan.
That's what I would love to know. Like that evolutionary stuff, obviously the ones that do that are the ones that survive. So there may not be a literal thought process of, I'm going to keep it cool in salamander language by flapping my tail. It might just be the ones that are more successful have that genetic memory. I love this stuff. It's fascinating. I wish we had an actual scientist with us.
I just kind of like went down to the very bitty bottom just to see kind of what was going on here.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
What, of the comments?
No, of like all the information about every kind of salamander species that AI has just given me. Okay. It's a lot.
Yeah.
We have one that will retain the egg inside of the body until they hatch.
Makes sense. That seems like the worst of both worlds.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. Then there's one that will steal. Where was that one?
Is that like the cuckoo salamander?
It did something crazy. It stole other salamanders' DNA because it doesn't reproduce with its own. Oh,
it's like Tuvix. It's the symbiosis.
That's it.
Symbiogenesis.
That's why I was really interested in it. Something in my mind said this is very Star Trek. Yeah, I decided to once again experiment with my notes in a thread. And I think I did a better job this time of giving like a little bit of a heads up, but I still didn't do enough. I did just enough that maybe one or two people actually were able to hit play when we were watching, and so they watched along with us, which was really fun. I think that would be a good idea to do more intentionally next time. So I will do a better job next time of being like, hey, we're going to start in like 5 minutes, like give you more of a heads up.
The reason we were dying was because I sat down. I literally had Tom on screen with Warp 5 as a subtitle, and then I just hear it, and it's literally Tuvix at my Tuvix. God damn it!
You just called Twix Tuvix.
It's a great name for a dog that you don't like.
Oh my god! And you don't like him right now because he yacked all over your foot.
Because he vommed at my feet. He just went, and it just there's one single note and an entire circle of vomit. Just.
I'm surprised you're talking about it.
I'm not. It's whole. It was just there.
He birthed something from his mouth.
So I went into the bedroom and I said, Deneé, please go deal with Twix. Yeah. And I'll be in here.
Yeah. You don't do well. You don't do well with that kind of stuff.
I'm doing better with poop because I had to wipe the dog's ass.
This is what people want to know.
Yeah,
this is the kind of real life shit you guys came here for.
My real growth is that I'm getting better at dealing with turds, but I cannot deal with vomit. This is the part of the show. Wait, hang on a minute. There we go.
I get in trouble.
You get in trouble for derailing my edit.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry about that.
It's been a rough month for edits, actually. We've had some weird things happen. It's been really rough.
Yeah, if you want to know how Ian can turn around the edit so quickly, it's by me not talking to the chat.
It's getting harder. Getting harder every week.
I'm going to do this so much now because...
It's Neelix.
Has
my camera frozen on your screen?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that? Oh, everything's frozen. Oh,
no. He's gone, yo.
Test. Okay.
Muted. No audio. Muted. Oh, God, what have I done?
God damn.
We've got Deneé back. She's back. Oh, we can hear me? You can hear me? Oh, whoa. Okay, that's great. I was literally about to try to open up a program so I could type and you guys could see whatever was going on.
You should be able to hear me as well. I think it's just my camera that fucked that.
Yeah, you're back too.
What an absolute pisser.
You ready? Do you want to hit any buttons to denote when we're back?
No. It's fine.
Sorry, future Ian.
Yeah, Ian, just deal with it.
We said that every edit has been fucked lately and then it fucked.
Hey, Ian, get your shit together.
I have an interesting behind the scenes thing to say about our season 3 recap, which is that we recorded it and then we had an emergency and then we had to stop recording it and then come back and record the rest of it. And I'm curious if you guys will be able to hear the edit point.
Well, there's an edit point, and then once we finished that, the last 10 minutes didn't record. So we had to
re-record. Yes.
We had to re-record the last 10 to 15 minutes.
It was cursed.
It was a nightmare. So it was spread across two or three different recording sessions.
You'll never know pain until all of a sudden you go to do your edit and it didn't record properly.
And it's not there.
Sorry, future
No, it's
Ian. I apologize to you. I try to make your job easy, and then sometimes I fuck up. And I don't mean to. I don't mean to make your job so hard. I don't mean to make your life so complicated. Oh, look at you now. You've got to do some editing work. I'm so sorry, Ian, in the future. Sometimes I forget that I'm live.